Yo, what is up guys? Brandon here, aka Mr. Brand Owner, and welcome back to a new YouTube video. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly why the e-com game is changing and what you should be doing right now after watching this video. Guys, let's just get straight into it. I don't want to keep you guys waiting for too long. First things first, who the hell am I and why should you be listening to me? So guys, I've been in the e-commerce game for over 6 years, right? If this is your first time on my channel, look me up on YouTube, look me up on Instagram, look me up on Twitter. I've documented my journey, I've shown my results, I've shown my brands also. I've went ahead and built a brand to 8 million euros in revenue in 2 years, was a hairstyling tool brand in the beauty niche, ended up getting scammed by my supplier, losing the brand overnight, and then afterwards starting a supplement brand that we're currently running right now, which is doing over $3 million every single month. I always walk the talk and I want to show you guys results before giving you guys sauce so that you guys can literally see that I walk the talk. So here you guys, you can see last year we ended up starting our supplement brand around February, right before Valentine's Day. We ended up doing $10.5 million at the end of the year of 2025. And that was the exact moment that we ended up losing our Shopify payments. Right before Black Friday, we got terminated off Shopify, had $1.5 million in monthly recurring revenue, so in MRR. We ended up losing that, going back straight to 300K only, and we had to build up everything again in just months. And now we're at $3 million every single month. So guys, crazy journey. And here you can see that this year, we've already done over $11.6 million in revenue. And we're just on a run rate to doing 30 mil, maybe 40 mil at the end of this year. So guys, let's just skip and get straight into the sauce. So guys, the most important skill set to build a scalable and profitable brand in 2026 is going to be literally mastering these two pillars in your e-commerce business: acquisition and retention. Okay, this is what businesses all struggle with, either with one of them or maybe even both of them. So acquisition, how do we get customers through the front door to end up buying from our store? And retention is how do we get customers to stay as long as possible or come back to our store to buy again from our brand? Like, those are the two most important pillars that every single business basically runs out of. Acquisition and retention, guys. Those are the most important skill sets to go ahead and build. So acquisition, that will either be in marketing, knowing how to run new creatives, and retention is basically running a business that has returning customers and knowing how you can master retention to get customers coming back more and more and more, making the customer service experience, phenomenal, that they want to come back and buy from you again, and building a long-term brand. Like, those two things are super, super important. So let's just get straight into the sauce, okay? So first things first, subscriptions. That's the first thing that we're going to talk about. And guys, the reason why I have subscriptions here is number one, is because the game is changing. A lot of people are starting e-com. A lot of people are jumping into the market. The e-com barrier of entry is at an all-time low. Like, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Like, anyone can go ahead and rip your store, build it with Claude or build it with some AI tool, and they end up having the exact same store that you have, right? You can invest money into development, you can invest money into design, you can invest money into your whole website and all that type of stuff, but someone can go ahead and literally copy your store in minutes, in less than an hour, with AI, and have this exact same store and run the exact same product as you. Like, all-time barrier of entry is at an all-time low. Like, no joke. There's literally also no advantage of you being on Shopify, because anyone can come onto Shopify and run the exact same apps like you. Like, that's it, right? So where does subscription come into this? Subscription comes into this because you're gonna own your customers, unless you lose your payment processing, right? But you're gonna have customers that are yours, that you can target again, that you can have coming back to your store or have them on a subscription to be buying from your brand basically, and having recurring products being sent to them every single month, 2 months, 3 months, or maybe even more, right? That is why subscription is so important right now running your brand. And I can see a lot of brands are also one-time purchase brands are just shifting to subscriptions, right? We got the whole tax duties happening with Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, all that type of stuff. We got even Europe at the time of this recording, 22nd of June, introducing tax duties of €3 for every product. Like, guys, the game is becoming harder. Obviously, there's always ways to go ahead and maneuver around it, but I can see subscriptions just becoming mainstream heading into the future, because a lot of stuff are working towards us right now, right? CPCs on Facebook are becoming crazier. There's no stability, right? And that is where subscription goes ahead and brings monthly recurring revenue to your business, which creates stability for your business in order to continue growing, right? There's something that you can basically project on, have prediction on, and then afterwards go ahead and make business decisions on, right? So one-time purchase brands versus subscription brands in 2026. So why recurring revenue creates stronger cash flow, more predictable growth, and also a higher enterprise value. Okay, so basically typical one-time purchase products here, I have Dyson as an example. We got basically vacuum cleaners, hair styling tools, or even air codes. These are typical one-time purchase products that you buy once and you're okay for the next 1 or 2 years. But we also got typical recurring purchase products. So supplements, skincare, hair care, pet food, and a few other consumables that are basically out there that you can go ahead and have a subscription with over on it. So here I got the big guys, Grants, Primal Queen, IM8, H1. We've all seen it. Not going to make it too sexy. Most of them are venture capital backed businesses. So please do not go ahead and go rip these products and try to do it because they're doing tens of millions of dollars a month. These guys have money. These guys have funding. They have investors. Like versus the normal DTC operator, you're not going to just win like doing what they're doing. Okay. One-time purchase versus subscription MR brands. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to start off with one-time purchase brands and why it's like a very shitty move to make right now in 2026. First of all, you're going to have low retention rate. You're going to be very dependent on Facebook for ROAS for your profit, right? So a good day on Facebook is a good day, bad day on Facebook is a bad day, less profit or no profit at all. You're so dependent on Facebook in order to make profit for your business. So your business basically is so dependent on a marketing channel in order to generate revenue. Right? What happens if Facebook disappears tomorrow? Basically, I have nothing, right? So that's why you're so dependent on return on ad spend on Facebook in order to generate profit. Okay. Third is going to be you need 3+ purchases to become profitable. And what people do not understand when I say this is basically that when Facebook ends up spending money on the platform, after they spend money and now distributed your ad to people's phones, their Facebook, on the laptop, all that type of stuff, like while it's finding buyers, Facebook is spending money. So typically you would always need around 2 to 3 purchases to happen simultaneously in order to have profit, right? Otherwise you need to have spent a lot of money in order to then create a very big gap in revenue in order to be profitable, right? You get the point? Ad spend minus generated revenue is profit, okay? Minus COGS, transaction fees, all that type of stuff. So you're also going to be competing on every single level, basically for a sale, right? So more competitors come into the market, like what's happening. So basically, guys, if they end up ripping your creatives and all that type of stuff, your ad account is going to feel it, okay? You're going to immediately not have a very good ROAS. And then if you're so dependent on that, you're not going to be profitable. Fifth is going to be you have limited predictable growth. So the often strongest growth or predictable growth is only in Q4. So if you guys are selling gift-giving products, obviously Q4 is yours. Wow, 100K days coming in, all that type of stuff. But you cannot replicate that in Q1, Q2, and Q3. And that is where your predictability basically goes away. Yes, Q4 will be the most profitable season for your brand, but you cannot replicate that in Q1, Q2, Q3. Like basically 66% or even more, 75% part of the year. You cannot even generate predictable growth for your business. Like it doesn't make sense, right? And then sixth and the last thing is going to be lower future exit multiple, often 2 to 3 times EBITDA if lucky, because yeah, there's just too many variables that come into the business that you're dependent on Facebook. You as an operator, most of you guys are so stuck in your business that even makes it even worse in terms of exiting. Like there's too many stuff, which I don't want to touch on in this video, which basically makes the multiplier on your brand even lower. For subscription, if you're running a subscription brand, you're going to have longer retention from a single customer, right? You're not going to be dependent on Facebook at scale while breaking even. So you can basically spend money on Facebook, and a lot of people mix this up or get this thesis wrong that if you run subscriptions, you can run a 0.5 ROAS. When guys, it's not just your front-end acquisition and knowing what your ROAS is. You also need to dial in your numbers so good that you know you can make projections and obviously just work off of those projections in order to go ahead and scale your brand. That will include you going to a lower ROAS because you know that you can afford it. Your bank account is not going to feel it. Obviously your cash balance is coming in. Like guys, there's so many stuff when it comes down to it, but basically you don't need to be dependent on Facebook. So if we end up having a shitty day, Facebook overspent 20K. All right, okay, cool. All right, maybe the ROAS was shit, but we're gonna make that money back anyways in a month or two. Okay. Third is going to be profitability from month 2 onwards. So obviously if you're on break even, first month you're going to be profitable. Most brands that I see and even also coach one-on-one, we can see that they're always going to be profitable around month 2. Only like the heavy big guys like Primal Queen, Grunts and stuff, they end up spending such a low ROAS that they have to be like waiting for 4 to 6 months plus in order to be profitable from that purchase. But they have such a good product, which they know like, okay, hey, we can afford that because we know that customers stay with us for 12 plus months or whatsoever. Fourth is going to be that you can outspend competitors. Basically what I just said, you can outspend it in the auction on Facebook. You can go negative if you want to. You can spend more money on your ads. And that's going to just go ahead and beat your competitors that are, first of all, if they're wanting one-time purchase, they need to be above a break-even ROAS, right? Otherwise, they're going to just end up turning off the ads. If they're running subscriptions and they're small, like they are going to be a little bit scared. They do not want to be going towards a negative, right? So if you have your stuff dialed in, you can just outspend your competitors and you would not even freaking care. Okay. Fifth thing is going to be it wins more Facebook auctions, like I just said. 6 is going to be more predictable growth year round. And 7 is going to be you're going to have a higher future exit multiple, often 4 to 8 times EBITDA on your brand. Then again, guys, for people that are looking to exit the brand and you end up seeing these numbers and you start multiplying your profits, all that type of stuff, like, oh, okay, this is what you can exit. First of all, the only way to make your exit even bigger, first is going to be with subscriptions, right? Because buyers can end up seeing like, okay, you have recurring revenue. They can calculate how much money they're going to be earning back, all that type of stuff. That's good. But the second thing is going to be product market fit and how unique is your product. And also basically the way that your brand does things, your infrastructure, all that type of stuff. It's not just running subscriptions. You need to have all these things dialed in if you want to end up doing some crazy exit. So that's why we can see that Grunts, I'm not sure how much they did. Was it 1 billion or something like that? But first of all, they invented a whole new product mechanism. They brought it to the market. They ended up throwing money towards it. They knew what they were doing, but most of you guys are just going to be out there ripping from a competitor, from, I don't know, Kalo data or whatsoever, and just thinking like, okay, you got to run it up. But those stores do not end up doing crazy exits. I'm going to just be honest here. Okay. But if you do it smart, you can end up doing a crazy exit. Okay. So basically why subscription MR or MR basically wins is more cash flow, higher valuation, and also more enterprise value. Okay. So more cash flow, meaning stronger liquidity and reinvestment power that you can throw back into ads. Second is going to be higher valuation. So investors pay more for predictability and retention, and more enterprise value. So compounding growth builds lasting enterprise value. Okay. That's just how the game works. Next thing is, why is running an MR brand now more important than ever? But I just basically went ahead and gave it to you guys. So first of all, we got Facebook, Google, TikTok, and also other platforms, Apple, Taboola, all that type of stuff. But I'm going to just take the kings here, right? So we got Facebook and Google. I don't touch TikTok shop. I know some people run on it, but it's just too, it fluctuates too much. I don't like it. I like Facebook, Google, and all these other native platforms. But even for Facebook and Google, and I'll take Facebook as the prime example. Facebook has, first of all, sometimes or a lot of times bot traffic being sent to your site, or it's overspending and all that type of stuff. So you cannot control what these market channels are doing for you. Okay, so how are you going to protect yourself as a business? Because if you try and get a refund from Facebook after overspending, it's like very hard. Yes, you can try it. Some people might get it, some people might not, but it's very hard. Okay, so that's why running an MR brand now is more important than ever, because you can go ahead and create predictability for your business, have recurring revenue, and also if Facebook ends up overspending a day crazy, right? It's like it's not going to hurt you that much, right? It's not going to hurt your business that much. So that is one. And the second thing, like I just explained in the previous example here at the top, is that people can just basically just swipe your store with Claude, ChatGPT, all these other AI tools and rebuild it. Like, guys, there's nothing special about your store. So sometimes I hear people talking about, I want equity in this, I want equity in this. If like logically thinking, like as an investor, right? I'm not an investor into brands, but if someone were to offer me their brand, I'll be like, okay, but bro, someone can go like, what is special about you next to just having a trademark and some Kalo data rip product or that type of stuff? Because anyone can go ahead and copy this. Why would I put my money into your brand if someone or hundreds of people, thousands of people can go ahead and rip the exact same thing in 10 minutes, right? So that's why product market fit and also basically the way that how you position your product and something unique is so important right now. Branding as well, but also owning your infrastructure and also owning or having returning customers. That's why building an MR brand or having an MR brand right now is more important than ever, right? Think about it. And if we even have to look at what the big dogs are doing, okay? So obviously we got Amazon, we got Apple, but Amazon has their warehouse where they basically ship physical goods to customers, okay? We got Apple that has basically an iPhone, okay? Has an iPhone. They ship that type of stuff, but they also have subscriptions, okay? In a different form. We got Amazon that has Amazon Prime. People have to subscribe to it to get faster shipping, better experience. And we also got iCloud, which basically goes in and has your cloud storage for your data, which Apple also charges recurring revenue on. Like, guys, think about it. Even the big dogs are doing it, okay? But they've obviously been in the game way longer. I'm just trying to give you guys a very good example that subscription model, even if you have a one-time purchase product, sometimes you can go ahead and implement a product as a complementary product to a one-time purchase product, which can be complementary, but then also have a subscription on it. Like, you have to get creative with that type of stuff. So that's what I also mean with, guys, use your brain, look into the market right now, like analyze what is happening, or just hear me yap for a sec and I'll tell you what is happening, okay? Like, use your brain. Like, the market is changing every single year. Last year or 2 years ago was freaking fashion dropshipping, all that type of stuff. Now we have MR coming in and the next gold rush has already started. I'm gonna be honest. Like, the top dogs are in MR, but they're also doing some other type of stuff and ventures, okay? Like, be aware in the market, like try to stay up to date with this type of stuff, or subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll be breaking all these things down, or on Instagram or Twitter. Like, guys, use your brain. Subscriptions, if we look at the market, like everything's against us, the tax duties, the platforms are doing crazy outspending and outages, all that type of stuff, Shopify going down, all that type of stuff. Like, we need to go ahead and position ourselves as at the best possible, basically place or part on the chessboard in order to go ahead and continue scaling our business, okay? It's fun because we don't want business to be too easy, right? So every time we have to be moving puzzles, moving pieces in order to keep growing and scaling that way, okay? So use your brain, be aware of that. That's why it's super important to be running a subscription brand right now. Second thing is going to be your creative engine to scale your brand, okay? So having subscriptions is one thing, having a product is one thing, having supply chain is one thing, having a good team is one thing, which I'm going to also get into in a bit. Acquisition, as I said, acquisition. So subscriptions was retention, one part of it, okay? But now acquisition, we got creative engine, that is basically the engine for your business to keep on pumping out creatives that's going to go ahead and sustain your brand's current scale or end up scaling your brand, okay? So if your backend is ready, this is the only thing you should be focused on every single fucking day. And this is what builds a lifetime skill with a massive compounding effect. Everything else is noise. I put this way for the people that are beginners or intermediate. And why I say that is because most of you guys, like, if you end up starting a subscription brand or whatsoever, like, you want to be touching all the backend subscription stuff, and it's fun. Trust me, at high skill, it's fun. Tracking the numbers, tracking improvements, seeing feedback coming from customers, all type of stuff. Yes, it's so important. But coming back to the fundamentals, acquisition is what's going to get customers through your front door, right? You need to make sales in order to have MR anyway. So that's why you need to be mastering creatives, or basically like direct response right now, marketing. That's the most important pillar right now to be mastering in order to go ahead and scale your brand, right? So I went ahead and dialed in here the 3 workflow fundamentals for you to be basically dialing in for your brand to go ahead and scale, understanding your avatars and market way better than your competitors to outscale them also. So first things first, the 3 workflow fundamentals. The daily operating system behind better messaging, better creatives, and better marketing decision. So first, it all starts with research, okay? Find the winning message before you try to scale it. Okay, so once you have a product, once you understand your avatar, you also need to go ahead and try to tap into the market. And how you're going to go ahead and do that is by, first of all, doing your research, understanding the market, understanding your customers, and then eventually rewriting or putting a messaging towards your ads and creatives in order to market your product to these customers. Also, for example, in their own customer language to make them convert and buy from your brand, okay? Make them feel heard, make them feel like this is for them. That is what is so important. But how are you going to get that? It starts with research. So find the winning messaging before you try to scale it. So daily customer, competitor, and market research is so important for you to be doing, especially if you're still a solopreneur or you're working 18, 12, 16 hours a day. Like dedicate some time, create a time block in your day to go ahead and master, at least do deep research to understand your avatar better and your market better. Okay, so daily customer, competitor, and market research is so essential. Uncover pains, desires, beliefs, and objections of your customer so that you can position your product way better than your competitors and end up beating them, but also end up gaining trust from your customers. That's going to also end up converting as much as possible. Third is going to be spot what messaging is working right now. That can be from competitors, right? It can be through Reddit forum research, seeing exactly like the way customers talk, seeing exactly like what their needs are, coming back to uncovering their pains, desires, and beliefs. Like spot what is working, be open-minded with it. Yes, you can still do manual research, looking on Amazon, Google, YouTube, Reddit, all that type of stuff. You can also use Claude nowadays, but don't act brain dead that you need to just be using Claude and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, don't do that. Like, mix best of both worlds, but it comes back to you understanding it and not some AI, okay? Second is going to be the creative engine. So turn research into high volume output and faster learning. Okay, so build swipe files and idea banks every day. It can be from your competitors, like put them all into a Figma or something. Have them all lined up. Like I have a competitors funnel research, like a competitors funnel of emails, a swipe file that I built myself that basically that I could also link here below for you guys. That I have all the emails of the most important brands that I like to track. Okay. That is so important. Second is going to be use AI to accelerate ideation and production. So like I said, you can go ahead and use AI. There's nothing wrong with that, but do not use it brain dead. And like you need to feed it info, or at least you need to be able to call it out if it says false info, or at least try to, I think the English word is spar with it, like going back and forth until you get like what you need or the right answer from it. Like you won't be able to do that if you don't understand the research yourself. So that's why I put research as number one. Third is going to be diversify formats across awareness stages. And fourth is going to be create more tests, faster feedback loops that's going to create better winners. So the more that you can test, the more that you can get feedback from your data and see what is working and what's not working, and then afterwards end up iterating from it, is going to make you make better winners. Right? So you need to be understanding this. And for example, with our team, we have weekly feedback loop calls in order to see like, okay, hey, what's working in the ad account now? What's not working in the ad account now? And that is what we're going to end up doubling down on what's working, but also try to find these new formats or even new avatars that we could target to unlock more scale. Right? And the third thing is going to be right now, if you're going to be in supplements, skincare, pet food or whatsoever, learn direct response marketing. Okay. That's basically marketing in general. So sharpen your judgment so you know what good marketing looks like. Okay. So you need to be in the books. So first things first, study classic books, winning brands and ads. Okay. You need to study them, right? The copy, the way that they talk to their customers. Why are they using this specific ad with this specific copy? Like you guys need to dial in on that. And we all know the book Breakthrough Advertising Ads. Okay. Breakthrough Advertising. Make sure that you go ahead and check that book out as well. Eugene Schwartz. Obviously everyone knows that, and obviously everyone has already plugged and played that into the Claude in order to do some copywriting, but study them. Like direct response hasn't just arrived a year ago. It's been with us through years, been in newsletters. How do you think newsletters have been back in the day when there was no online? They were basically, telling people and giving people a message as well. Like you need to understand these things. It goes back way, way back. So classic book, Breakthrough Advertising, very good one. Understand persuasion, offers, and positioning. Learn from organic content and platform behavior. So you need to be, pattern recognition is so important when it comes down to this. And fourth is going to be build stronger feedback loops and a real game plan. Okay. So like I said, every week with our creative team, or you look at your ad account, you go ahead and break down, okay, what is working, what is not working? Why is this not working? Why is this working? And then you end up, doubling down on what's working, but then iterating on what's not working until you try to make it crack. Like guys, if you were to look at like our ad library account, okay, just know like our winning ads is not, it's basically probably like iteration 7 from concept number iteration 7 or concept number 7 from our first concept that we ended up starting that did not go ahead and work. So we ended up iterating on it 4, 5, 6, 7 times until it became a winner. And that's why it's so important. So if you end up doing these daily, you're going to have better insights. You're going to become better at making creatives and understanding creatives. And the last and final thing is going to be, you're going to become better at making decisions, and especially in marketing. right? So scaling your brand on Facebook all comes down to these things, as you can see here. So core marketing principles, a simple visual framework for winning messaging, positioning, and persuasion. So understanding, for example, mass desire. So find the desire already moving in the market. You cannot create desire, only capture it and channel it. Okay. Second is going to be levels of awareness. So the five levels of awareness stages. Match your message to what the customer already knows about the problem, solution, and product. Third is going to be market sophistication. So understand how saturated the market is, then differentiate with stronger claims, mechanisms, or identity. Fourth is going to be people buy when your message fits what they already believe or can easily accept. Fifth is going to be gradualization. So lead the customer step by step from familiar truths to your bigger claim, which is going to eventually end up presenting your product. Six is going to be intensification. So make the outcome feel vivid and emotionally compelling so the desire becomes stronger. Seven is going to be identification. Sell the identity the customer wants to become, not just a product benefit. So basically the outcome that they want. 8 is going to be redefinition. So handle objections by reframing the comparison around price, effort, time, or risk. 9 is going to be mechanization. So show how the product works so the promise feels concrete and believable. 10 is going to be concentration. So show why the alternatives fail so your product becomes the clearest option, right? So taking down your enemies basically. And 11 is going to be camouflage. So make the ad feel native to the platform so it gets consumed instead of ignored. People see the same thing over and over and over again. This is going to end up scrolling until they find something new. Okay? So this is basically the things on how you can go ahead and scale your brand. My business partner, Ramo, the Facebook Wizard, has an entire Facebook strategy breakdown from going from 0 to 100K a month on my YouTube channel. So go ahead and check it because he's a marketing wizard and he's going to go way deeper into this than what I did in this video. All right? So coming down to the last part of the video is basically building a team. All right. So most of you guys are basically the solopreneur that wants to do everything in your business, right? Either you don't want to be paying your staff, you just want to be keeping the money as much as possible in your pocket, which I somewhere understand. But at the same time, you're competing against guys that are just doubling down on hiring people, especially even though that there's AI right now, right? From my perspective, I don't see AI like crushing it with creatives, to be honest. Like I'm mass hiring right now, like creative strategists. Right? So if you're a creative strategist, make sure to somehow send me a DM or something. But we're doubling down mass on creative strategists, even though we got this whole AI bubble here now. Okay. But coming back to the point, building a team, this is you right now. Okay. So here's an org chart. So an organization chart. So basically all the most important levers in your business and where you're located. So you're this one figure. You're basically here. So you're the CEO or founder. If you have a co-founder, then obviously it's going to be you guys too. So then both of you are this icon. But otherwise, you're head of operations, head of growth and performance, head of marketing. You're doing the media buying. You're doing the strategist. You're maybe have an image editor. You have your customer service manager that maybe has a customer service VAs under them, and then dispute agent, which have to report back to you anyways. You're your own supply chain manager, so you're talking to the manufacturer, you're placing orders, you're paying invoices, all that type of stuff. And you're also head of product. You're the one that found the product, obviously, but you need to be doing the research in order to find new products or whatsoever, right? Or even understanding the product and maybe even making it better. Like you're that person. So you're running a whole entire operation on your own, and you want to be not investing into your team and growing and taking yourself out of parts of the business which are probably not worth your time. Maybe it's not even your zone of genius. And what I mean with that is that basically, like, if you're not good at marketing at all, even though it's one of the most important levers in your business, like, why are you doing the marketing then? Maybe your strengths are supply chain, backend, customer service management, head of product, basically, so operations. Like, you need to understand what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and then you have to go ahead and make up for those, right? So one thing I want to do to open your guys' eyes to in this video is basically the team organization chart is going to be taking us to $10 million a month plus. Okay, so here's my organization chart up to date as of now. This was in May, right? So first things first, we are our CRM and tech stack. We use Slack, ClickUp for the people that are going to end up asking like, well, how do you communicate with your team, or what type of project management tool do you use? Slack and ClickUp, okay? But here you can see me and my business partner, CEO, founder, and co-founder. we got head of operations, head of growth and performance, and head of marketing. So head of marketing goes ahead and focuses on the whole marketing engine, right? Are we growing? Are we moving forward? How are performance looking like right now? And what do we need to do in order to improve them? Head of growth and performance, same thing, looking at the overall growth, looking at the overall performance, and then basically coming up with ideas to go ahead and improve them. And then we got head of operations, which basically takes care of the back end and the operations in order to keep the engine moving. Okay, so here we can see, and I don't want to go too deep into this because I've showed this before. Here we can see, for example, my business partner Ramo, he has media buyer and a landing page under him. He has a comments manager under him. He has senior creative strategists under him. He's got video and image editors under him. We've got UGC managers, and we also got copycat managers, and we have exactly what they need to be bringing in every single month. So for example, for our creative strategists, we got 15 concepts a week, research, script writing, managing editors, feedback loops, and how much we're paying them per month. And then from my side, we also got an AI developer focused on AI fully. We got a retention manager, so important for us during doing subscriptions. We got customer service manager, CFOs, supply chain manager, head of product, risk management, where I'm still very heavily involved. And then we got accountant assistant, and we also got our customer service agents, right? We also got the KPIs laid out. So for our customer service team, then they have to have good response time, resolution time, managing subscriptions, offering discounts and store credits, weekly calls, all that type of stuff. We have that entirely laid out. Okay, and this is not the org chart that's going to go ahead and bring us to $10 million a month. Okay, this was May 2026, so basically a month ago. I want to show you our org chart right now. Boom. People say that AI is here to basically replace people, and in some cases that's true. But we've doubled down more than ever on our team. So basically the whole entire team structure is still the same, but we've went ahead in order to scale our brand, we've went ahead and built out pods. Okay, so basically how these pods operate is that they go ahead and for example, we have pod A. So pod A is going to be focused on our hero product. Okay, so we're going to have them basically doubling down on finding new winners. Basically just keep on growing that specific product to scaling to even more revenue per month. Like right now we have like 95% coming from basically our A product, so our hero product, right? But we also do not want to be dependent on just one product only, because a lot of stuff can happen, right? Like something could go wrong with the batches and then we end up losing the product, or we need to do a recall, all the type of stuff. Like I don't want to put all my eggs just in one basket, okay? I go ahead and diversify them, and how we're going to do that is that by building different pods. So basically we're having all these different pods that are going to go ahead and expand. They're going to be taking on different products or even different brands. And that's what they're going to go ahead and do. So I use products here in the example, but you can basically build brands this way also. But what I want to make clear here is that this looks nice and hiring looks nice. Having people on payroll looks nice until you need to pay. But also at the same time, a lot of management comes into this, right? And if you're doing this alone, you're not going to be able to manage this because the output is just going to be so shit. You do not know if the research is being done well. You do not know if people are even doing it well. Yes, you can look at the ad account and you can be like, okay, hey, is performance good or not? But you're not going to find what's the root cause and what's the issue basically on why this specific thing is not working. If you're just going to have to take the word from your creative strategies, for example, whatsoever. Like guys, we're running an operations here and not some dropshipping store, as you can see. So we have this entire layout built out, which is basically our way to going to $10 million a month. So guys, thank you guys for watching. That was basically the video. The e-com game is changing in real time. So subscriptions, creative engine, and building a team, these are the most three important stuff that you need to go ahead and implement into your business right away. If you guys have any questions, make sure to drop them in the comments. I'll be answering the first 50 questions. Any questions at all, make sure to also hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Peace.